This is a procedure sequence for the dual select. The dual select allows the Cavitron to have different medicaments through it, so you can clean the patient's mouth or use an antibacterial solution. The dual select can sit on top of the Cavitron. The only Cavitron it can sit on top is this particular one, SPS, with the ridges in it. If you're using a Cavitron that does not have the ridges, like the Cavitron Plus or the SPS Select, then you'll have to get an assistant cart, or you can use the second bracket table if you have one on your unit. The 4 feet fit right into, and you can see it securely right into the grooves, and that's what makes it so great to use it with this particular Cavitron. The Cavitron itself is already hooked up. I've hooked up the outlet, I've hooked up the foot pedal, but I have not hooked up the water. Why? Because I want the water to come from the dual select itself. So what I'm going to do is take the water hose from the Cavitron, and in order to get water, I'm going to place it into the lavage. So it's not going into the unit, it's going into the dual select. So this water line here that comes from H2O, comes from the dual select, is the only one that is not used. I'm just going to twirl this around and set this aside. We're not going to be using that. And I'm going to take the air tube from the dual select and hook it into the air at the unit. We're hooking the gray air line to the yellow rimmed air on the unit. By Rexing the unit, what you want to do is you want to always make sure your dial is at the open position. Open up the dual select, take your 2 containers out. Just have to wiggle it a little bit and it comes right out. I have filled both water bottles with water from our distilled area. I'm going to place it back in and close. Cavitron is turned on, power is to the lowest, water is to the highest. We're going to bleed the line. Now remember, all this water is going through the Cavitron. We're not using the unit water anymore. And we're going to bleed the line for 30 seconds each bottle. So I'm going to go over to A first. I'm going to hit my foot pedal and wait for the water to come out. And 30 seconds goes by. And then we're going to go over to B and do another 30 seconds. After the 2 30-second rinses are finished, you want to go back to the open position. Pull the water bottles out, and you'll notice they're about half full now. Take the 2 water bottles and remove the tops. Fill the 1 water bottle till the fill line. Top back on. And the other water bottle we're going to do half Listerine and half water. I've decided I'm going to use Listerine, half water, half Listerine. I'm going to pump the Listerine in until it reaches the water line. I've got half water, half Listerine. Half Listerine and half water for a medicament. And one is going to be water and one is going to be Listerine. And we're going to place them back onto, and it doesn't matter which bottle goes where. You can do it either way. The dual select. I'm going to close. And if I've decided I'm going to use water first, I'm going to fill it up with water and put my insert in. Place my insert in, and then I'm ready to scale all the areas. When I'm ready to use the special medicament that I've chosen, I'm going to go over to A, where my medicament is, and use the Cavitron in those specific areas. You're all ready to go with the dual select. In order to get all the medicament through the tubing, we have to use sodium hypochlorite to clean out the tubing after we're finished using the dual select. I go into sterilization area and I notice that my sodium hypochlorite bottle is filled to the line, and the rest of it I'm going to fill with distilled water. So I'm going to go get that now. So I've gotten my distilled water and filled that up to the water line, and I'm ready to clean through the tubing. So I'm going to go back to my dual select, and I'm going to take out the medicament that I've used, and I'm going to open and take my sodium hypochlorite bottle Okay, so now I'm going to rinse, purge my lines with the sodium hypochlorite for 30 seconds on one side. Right now I'm on A. 30 seconds goes by. After the 30 seconds, I'm going to come back to my dual select, go to the open position, and switch bottles. And we're going to go to B, and we're going to rinse that for 30 seconds also. My sodium hypochlorite, I'm going to go over to the water bottle and rinse now for 1 minute the handpiece. 1 minute. Switch my bottles again. Go to the opposite side. Go to open. Going to B, rinsing again for 1 minute. After I'm done rinsing with water, I always like to just give a little sniff of the water as it's coming out, just to make sure I don't smell any more of the sodium hypochlorite out there. If I do, I rinse for another minute. Go back to the open position. Take your water bottle. By now it's probably pretty much empty. And now we can purge our tubes of any of the solution. So I'm going to go to A. It has an empty bottle in it. Now, since the empty bottle is here in the dual select, I'm going to be able to purge the lines without changing the water line to the air line, which I normally would do. But with the dual select, I no longer have to do that. I'm now going to press down on my foot pedal. And you're ready to hear the hissing sound, and we've purged all our lines with air. There's no longer any fluid inside. Now we're going to take all the bottles into sterile. We're going to put some soap and water in the bottles and shake it to rinse the bottles out. The sodium hypochlorite bottle goes back in sterile and stays in there, and the cap is going to come off. And we're going to put the plain cap in here. At this point, we're taking the medicament bottle and rinsing it out. We're going to place some soap in the medicament bottle. We're going to fill it up with water. And then we're going to put the cap back on. Shake it really good. Get it out. Rinse all the soap out. Do the same with the second bottle, soapy water. And then we're going to put it in sterile and on the drying rack. So we're going to take the dual select bottles and put them on the drying rack. So that they dry. And when you label it, make sure you label it that the dual select came from a specific bin so we know where to put the dual select bottles back. Always remember to Birex everything when you're finished, and also Birex before you're taking the bottles out. It's on your procedure sequence sheet how to do that. And you want to go to the back of the unit here. We're going to unplug everything. We're going to take the water plug from the Cavitron, and we're going to take the air from the unit and unplug that. Always wrap your cords in a circular motion so that you don't cause any crimping, and put it back where it belongs.